What is poppin', beautiful people? Welcome into the Miss Best Reviews channel. We are here to go over 90 Day Fiancé before the 90 days. This is season 8, episode 17. It was titled Welcome to Your Destination. Oh, there's a lot that we will go over, but we are finally nearing the end of this season of 90 Day Fiancé. It has been a very, very, very long season for before the 90 days, but it's been long and entertaining. Before we get any further, I do encourage everybody to please tap into the links of the description of this video. The reason is that there are links to several great creators' channels, such as Watch Your Mouth Reviews, who usually joins us for these lives, but will be off of my channel for this week, as well as Watch Your Best Friends, our joint channel together. Shayna_MCD, Vibe X, who says 90 Days is one of his favorite shows, and several other great creators. So be sure to tap in to the links in the description. Also, welcome to everybody just now joining. What's poppin'? Happy Monday. We survived the day. I hope most of us have survived the day. Also, if you are new here, we hope that you do consider liking the video if you like what we're doing. If you watched a couple of videos, consider subscribing. If not, either way, I still appreciate you for coming by and supporting the channel. And let's also greet the chat. Shani, our moderator and subscriber, is here. I'm happy to see you today, Shani. Shani was DMing Mrs. Best Reviews, which I love. I love when y'all DM me, but she was cracking up at this episode. I work from home. I feel like Shani works from home as well, but I had to keep pausing work to laugh, to actually laugh, because Daniel and Lisa, they not gonna ever stress me out, but they are absolutely gonna provide me with some laughter. It's what they're going to do. Yes, please like the video on your way in or out. 1,000 appreciations, as the talented Also Best would say. So many appreciations for it. But let's get into the episode. We're going to start with Anna and Jovan because nothing happened with them. Nothing happened with Anna and Jovan. So the last we saw them, they were struggling because he got a little disrespectful, kind of like, you need to be quiet if you want my money type energy. And Anna does too much, yes, when she's upset. But the stuff that she's asking him for is not difficult. This relationship is toxic, the Hot Mess Express. But apparently, because this is a couple that has been married for a couple of years, they've been together for, what was it, like 6 or 9 years, something crazy. And they got married, I believe, 3 years into it. But they got married like through Zoom. I don't know if it's by proxy, like they be doing a love after lockup. But Anna and Jovan got married away from each other, so they never had a wedding. Anna is like, she wants a wedding. She can't have one, but she's going to have a vow renewal before Jovan goes back to the U.S. The vow renewal is coming, and because of that, she wants to get a ring because she feels like she's the only wife on the planet that don't have a ring. When I first got married, we did not have a ring. My mother-in-law gave us something to use, like just some jewelry that she had. I was 19, he was 21. We didn't have nothing. So I understand not everybody getting married is going to have that ring that amounts to the 3-month salary. That's where your love is supposed to shine and you're supposed to uplift each other to do better in life. So you could get a ring. That's how it should go. Now I have one. But they go to, it looks like a little Filipino like pawn shop, if we gonna keep it real. And she's looking at rings and she asks to look at the cheaper rings in there. And the cheapest ring in USD comes out to about $268, probably $300 after taxes. My husband, if he could get me a real wedding ring that is new for just $300 after tax, I would probably have a wedding ring every year. Okay? So I'm looking at Anna and I'm like, it's good that she didn't go for the most expensive thing in the spot. But y'all don't remember the Golden Girls from the earlier episodes of Anna and Jovan when we first met them? He works in a nursing home. He is not the LVN. He is not the physical therapist. He is not the care coordinator. He is not the social worker. He's not one of the doctors. He's just one of the people working in the nursing home, support staff. Meaning, Jovan don't make no fucking money because he is working in a nursing home in Alabama. If you work in a nursing home in California, you're probably getting maybe $21 to $23 an hour. Doing what Jovan does in Alabama, I'm sure it's closer to the federal minimum wage, which is still $7.50 for whatever reason. So I'm sure that Jovan has to save his money and be budget friendly while on this trip. And I'm not faulting him for that, but I just feel like I kind of agreed with Anna. Why would you take me to a ring shop when I'm showing you that I'm expecting to get a ring? You're allowing me to have this unrealistic expectation. And then when it comes time to getting the cost, you're just like, yep, we can't buy nothing. So she felt a little embarrassed about it. They didn't show too much this episode, but if y'all been watching the show, what do we know that is true about Anna? Bitch, 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 yap, 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 yap. She's not going to let it go. Anna's going to bring up this ring. And honestly, Anna and Jovan annoy me. I think they're very toxic. I find it odd that they're married and they have not come up with a plan to get either her to the US or him to the Philippines. I feel like there's more they should be talking about, but they can't talk about it because he just is not conscious. And in my opinion, Jovan is not ready for a relationship. And Anna, she doesn't really, it's like she knows it's toxic, but is staying with him just because they're married. And that's the wrong reason to stay with somebody. But let me know how you guys feel about Anna and Jovan in the chat. They didn't really give a lot this episode. I feel like Anna and Jovan gonna give us a lot on the 90 Day Fiancé tell-all though. For those who are new to 90 Day, because I know a lot of my subscribers are more so like Bravo watchers, because I do a lot of Bravo television content. But 90 Day Fiancé, their reunions, they call them tell-alls. And it's usually where we get to the bottom of several things. Okay, several. Shanny said, I'm back and I'm first and in that order all the time. You are appreciated. Shetty said, yes, I work from home. Also, I be sitting in the living room in front of my computer screen, looking out the window like I'm Miss Pearl from 227 back in the day. I love it. I love it. They still play 227 on, I have YouTube TV. They still play 227 on one of those nostalgia networks. Shanny said, that's right, homie. Why can't she have a ring to show to the world? Yes, I am taken. I have a significant other. Don't come over here hitting on me. I know, I'm like, Jovan, you may not have been able to spend $268, but you could have at least been like, do you have something maybe half of this price? Or given them an amount that you were willing to spend just to put something on her finger. Because 9 times out of 10, like Anna was saying, it's not even about the ring and the materialism of it. It's about what it represents. And as a woman that's married, who at one point did not wear a wedding ring in the beginning of my marriage, I will say, having one makes it easy. I get bothered by less men, and they're more likely to accept no when asking you on a date when you flash the ring. They're just, it works. I don't know why. At least in the Bay Area, it does. Shanny said, Brother Joe, flights to Thailand are not expensive. Oh, Lord. Lord help us. Thailand is somewhere that me and my husband will likely be sometime next year. Likely. This year we're going to do Bali. Maybe next year we'll do Thailand. You never know. You never know. Be on the lookout for our vlogs. Shanny said, you know, I'm only 4 episodes in on this show, but I'm really hoping he's going to surprise her at the vow renewal with the ring. You know what, Shanny? I think a lot of us are hoping that because he has lacked in the romance department. It's not romantic and it doesn't make your girl feel good when you throw in her face everything you do for her. And the same thing for a man. Like, you just probably shouldn't do that in relationships. It takes away from the romance. But the way Jovan has been on this show, Shanny, I don't think he'll get her another ring. I don't. I think he's dating a woman in the Philippines because no American woman would put up with him. No American woman will put up with Jovan. Absolutely not. Not with his salary. Shanny says, telling my neighbors don't park right there. Pull up a little bit more. Don't block the driveway. If I was married and we were able to afford a ring, yes, I'm wearing my ring proudly. And homie, you better have your ring on too. Let a bitch know. I agree. I don't understand why Jovan would want his wife with nothing on her finger. You can't get the real gold ring. You could have got her a cubic zirconia something. What that girl call it on Love During Lockup? A CZ for cubic zirconia. He could have gave her something. I'm just saying, he really could have gave her something. But we're going to move into the next couple to discuss, which is Elise and Joshua. Now, we just saw Elise last week acting like an absolute buffoon in a restaurant because she did have a reason to be mad. I just would not have stood up in a restaurant to let the world know, hey, I'm dating this guy who don't really know if he got a job, ain't got no money, ain't got nowhere to live, can't take care of himself, and his friend is financially supporting him of the opposite sex that he also claims to live with. I wouldn't announce that in a restaurant, especially if I'm already announcing it on national television. But I do get where Elise is coming from in her frustration. I do. And I know some people may feel like, Mrs. Best, how could you say you understand where Elise is coming from? But the reason I feel that way is because when people are gaslighted, manipulated, and played with, if you push them to a certain point and try to make it seem like they're tripping when they know they're not, they get frustrated and they may snap. He should be happy that Elise's way of snapping was announcing his business in a restaurant instead of going upside his head like she should have, or throwing a drink in his face. Because who you playing with, sir? Who is you playing with? Because Josh is Josh is trying to play with her, but we see the aftermath when they come in this episode. We see Josh is at home with his friend. For the life of me, I can't remember his friend's name that he's sharing the rental with. But he tells his friends what went down with him and Elise and Nat at the dinner. And his friend laughed. That is, when I say that is me as a friend, I would have laughed. Because you put yourself in a situation to date. I'm sure Josh's friend realizes, like, regardless of what, you shouldn't be dating if you can't even afford to put a roof over your head, or depressed because your son done moved away and all this crazy stuff. Like, you should not be dating. But instead, you chose to date a woman in America, in Miami, one of our most shallow cities where people be tripping. Like, you chose to do something you should not have done. You should have waited till you got out of Nat's house to date, or you should have dated Nat. But as James said in our last review, I agreed with James. I don't think Joshua is attracted to Nat. I just don't think he's attracted to her because she has everything he would need. She could give him a house, a car, money to spend, and she's not unattractive, but he just doesn't seem interested at all. Let me catch the comments before we move forward, because I want to catch y'all in real time. Shani said, I don't know. Sometimes when I look at Joshua's homeboy, I be thinking he really want Elise. Clock it, Shani. Clock it, twin. When I tell y'all, my sister Shani, I agree with everything she's saying, because Elise and Josh's roommate friend, their banter is cool, but I find it weird that he wants to be around all the time. Like, I just find that to be extremely strange. Usually the ones that want to be around you and your girl all the time are the ones that might want your girl. I'm just saying, but it does look like there's something there, especially how he just giggles and don't say much. Hi, Vibe. I like your profile picture change. Lovely photo. Love the art in the background. I hope you're having a good day. I know you enjoy 90 Day. You guys, please check out Vibe's channel as well. The link is in the description of this video. Another talented creator. Let us support each other. It's free. Shani said, yeah, there was no need for her to scream him out in that restaurant. My girl blew a vessel. Okay, she popped the vessel. She said, fuck this church, fuck this man, fuck these cameras, fuck your couch. She said, I'm finna call it out. But I get where she was coming from. She probably felt alone and cornered and like she was being played with. Because while Elise while Joshua and Nat may not be doing anything intimate with each other and he may not be physically cheating, it's the fact that he lied. Him feeling the need to keep the truth from her about his living situation, Nat's not the problem. The problem is the fact that Josh lied about living with his parents, has not introduced Elise to a single family member or his son. And then in addition to that, you didn't tell her you live with a female friend. Like, he lied about things that most people would consider deal breakers internationally. So he's trying to act like it's not that big of a deal, but it's like, no, my guy, don't try to paint Nat off as being Elise off as being jealous of Nat when you lied to her, and her wondering what the reason to lie is when she probably just would have accepted it because you're having a hard time. That's what the problem is. And then y'all trying to make it seem like she don't have a right to be upset. They are playing with Elise. But at the same time, Elise needs to be less desperate. Because come on, girl, these outfits, no shade. Elise, the outfits that you are wearing, and leave those to a curvier woman. And no, I'm not talking about a black woman or just, a Hispanic woman or someone that's known as curvy. Like, Elise, you got to have some hips to fill out some of these outfits you wearing. And it's cold where you at. It's okay to put on the jacket. The dinner episode was funny, though, because she did just snap out of nowhere. It was funny. It was funny to see Nat run out of there, too. Joshua, how long have you been living with the female friend, and where were you living before you moved in with her? He said that he lived with his parents, and it sounds like he couldn't deal with his parents, which I get. And from his parents, he ended up with Nat. I want to know where he was living before the parents, though. Like, there's still a lot of holes in the story that is Joshua. And I feel like because Elise made this mistake with him and went off, that he's going to use that until he can't no more, so that she can't still ask the questions that she has a right to ask. Shani said, I guess I'm at the age where I'm not doing all of that. If I feel like I can't trust my man, then there's no need for me to be with said man. More people need to think that. I don't think it's age at all. I think your age just gives you the wisdom and confidence in your decision making, which is what a lot of younger people lack. But once the trust is broken in any relationship, friendship, familyship, marriage, like, you're done. You're done. It's very hard. And it's impossible to build back the trust when the person is gaslighting you about the very thing that broke the trust. Like Josh, he's 38 going on 28. Not even 28. He's 38 going on 18. Not introducing him to the son just yet. I can't get past that, but not introducing her to none of your family. Yeah, that is a big deal. I feel like with the kids, I think we can all understand that part. You want to be absolutely sure before you introduce a new partner to your child. It shouldn't be, no shade to some of my friends. I love y'all, for those of you who watch the channel, but I have a lot of friends who have their kids around every man that they date. And I'm just like, no, filter. Don't do that. But the family, she should have met or heard of someone. Shani says, and as a mom, no, you cannot meet my son until I meet you, period. That's why I ain't got no relationship now. I don't have the time to be figuring out what is true and what is not. Nigga, please. Shani said, I don't have the time. But Elise does apologize to Josh for her behavior, which I think he's going to take advantage of, because she's shown him something that, honestly, if she was with someone that matched her level, she showed something that matters in relationships. If you make a mistake, be willing to apologize. And she was apologetic with him in a way where she made no excuses. She didn't say, I'm sorry, but she didn't say, if I hurt your feelings. She said, I shouldn't have done that. I was wrong. I acted a fool and I'm not going to do it again. And I respected Elise for giving the apology like that. I did. But I want Elise to know the difference between apologizing and, still moving on in a relationship. You don't have to apologize and then walk on, act like you're walking on thin ice. You don't have to do that. But he tells us pretty much that he's going to try and work past things, and that the public embarrassment is something he should be able to get over. Joshua, just be accountable. It's all you. So they go to the zoo. I love Australia. I grew up watching The Crocodile Hunter, Steve Irwin. So whenever I see the zoo in Australia, I'm like, yay, animals. I just love it. But they go to the zoo and they have a fun time. They seem to break barriers, get more comfortable with each other. And later on in the episode, they end up renting their own place and going off together, like to get some alone time, because they've been with his roommate the entire time. And it's getting closer to the time that she's going to have to go home. I believe she only has like a few days left. Now, I was cracking up and legitimately hollering because Elise can't cook. And I'm a person, listen, if you can't cook, that's the one area I'm judging you. Now, I'm not saying you got to whip up something that's Gordon Ramsay quality that tastes wonderful. Even if you make some tasteless chicken, do you know how to cook it so that it hits 165 degrees Fahrenheit throughout the center and we don't get sick from eating it? Like, Elise looked like she cannot do much. The girl was trying to make some pasta, looked like some penne pasta with some tomato sauce, just a simple pasta. Right, Shani. She dumped all the pasta in the spaghetti sauce without draining the water. I said, what the hell? And then before that, she didn't put no seasoning in the pasta anywhere. She just took the sauce out the can, put it in a pot, was heated it up, and left it there. She boiled the pasta noodles on high for so long that the water was bubbling over. All she put in there was pasta. She didn't put no oil or butter, no salt to help it boil. She just threw everything in there. And as Shani said, then dumped it without straining the water out into the sauce. I said, what the hell? Elise, you must have a really good job. I just feel like everyone should know how to cook. And she's lucky because Joshua just laughed it off. He literally laughed it off, which I thought was actually pretty cool of him. If you know how to cook though, Josh, which it looks like he did, he had this girl throwing noodles and shit at the wall. I said, that is funny. Yes, your noodles will stick to the wall. But even if the pasta is done, girl, Elise was launching that noodle like she was at a softball competition or throwing the opening pitch for the San Francisco Giants. Elise, if you throw anything that fast at a wall, it's going to fall right off. She's funny. She had no clue how to even boil water. I'm like, you want kids, but you can't boil no pasta? Do better, colorless women. Do better. But, things go well. They discuss possibly her meeting his son, and he says that he's open to doing it on Facebook time, but then it seems like he's kind of against it. So he ends up telling her he's not sure about that. But they do have a good talk together about the feelings about his son moving away, which she says helps her to understand. Why didn't you move out there and follow your son to where he's at and reestablish yourself instead of sitting and sulking? Why don't you, instead of almost losing your job and crashing boats, Joshua, why don't you do the best job that you can do at work so that you could get time off whenever you want and make up enough money to go and travel to see your son more often? Like, I did, like, a person that sulks, especially about something as important as your child, instead of being proactive, is a person that's going to be problematic in the relationship too. Elise is just so focused on becoming a part of his life that she's not looking at some of the red flags. And there are definitely red flags there, because it's like, okay, you love your son and went through all of this, but what efforts are you making to see the boy? And I'm going to just say what I'm going to say, and y'all not going to like me for saying it, but if Joshua was a black man, people would totally be commenting on his parenting. Totally. People would have the biggest opinion. But, I guess maybe it's just me, but I feel like he got a lot of excuses for not seeing his baby. I also feel like he has a lot of excuses for not living his life the way a responsible adult would live his life. And why is it that Joshua is 38 and he looked like he's 45, and Elise is 32 and she looked like she's 38? Drink more water and argue less. That's what they need to do. That's what they need to do. We are going to move forward in a moment. I'm going to go over the comments, but I do appreciate everybody that is still here and watching. If you are just joining, you are also appreciated. Also, shout out to our replay gang. I appreciate all the people who watch when we're no longer live. You really do help keep my channel going and help keep me going. So I appreciate you heavily. Let's get through these hot ass comments. Shani said, did she even heat up the sauce? Because remember, she couldn't even turn on the stove. The sauce did not look on. It looked, you know how when some start to heat up, it gets like it moves around the consistency. That sauce looked like it just came out the glass jar. Okay. Fresh out the jar. Shani said, and then talking about if it's done, it will stick to the wall. No, girl, that is not correct. All you have to do is take a fork and cut it. If it cuts easily, it's done. I know. An old thing that's on the internet, though, that a lot of Italians follow is throw it on the window. It's like, no, we ain't got time for that. I'm not wasting pasta because they skimping us on how much they give us in a pack anyway. If you meet his son, what you gonna feed that baby? Is that why the son? Listen, she said that's gonna be for the father. What's she gonna feed her own baby if she have one? Her kid's going to be dodging pasta when the mama cook. That's what's going to happen with Elise. Shani said, maybe try and find a job where, yeah, you're selling boats, but you're also dropping them off. You can deliver them, and maybe they're close to where your son lives. That's an option, but maybe they live in a part of Australia that's not so close to the water. But I mean, Australia is huge, so I've heard that like where it's populated, like in Sydney, there won't be much else. Like a lot of the country is still untouched. So maybe they flew somewhere like extremely far away. Who knows? Shani said, and you don't got no work connections where maybe somebody is actually chartering a boat to close to where you live and you can work on the boat. That's what I'm saying. He has the means and the ability to make something happen so he could see his son. He's just not doing anything about it. That's why I think Joshua's lazy a little bit. Please comment on the replay. The replay they usually do comment and things like that. They usually do. We have people watching though, and I do appreciate the people watching whether they comment or not. Shani said her kid's gonna be at her parents' house eating. Yep, that's gonna be their only way of survival. And she said, I love that movie Australia with Nicole Kidman and Hugh Jackman. Nicole Kidman's in that Lioness show with Zoe Saldana on I watch it on Paramount Plus. I don't know where everyone else watches it, but love that show. It was really, really good. It was very good. But that's all we got from Elise and Joshua. You guys, let me know how you feel in the comments. Shout out to our replay gang. We're gonna get into Laura and Birkan, aka Sid from Doug. Now, hear me out. It is good, Shani. It's really good. I enjoyed it. Only 2 seasons, but I believe a third is coming at some point this year. But Laura talks to Birkan, and Laura is unaware that Birkan has found out from Michael because Birkan kept coming at Michael like, hey, you want my chick? And Michael is like, I don't want that bitch. And let me tell you why. Because she tried to come on to me, and I said no. Michael said if I wanted her, she wouldn't be on vacation. I said, okay, Michael, that was a bar. I see you. You need to get some Bosley or let all of that hair go. But other than that, I see you. Now, Laura and Birkan talk. He tells her he's upset. And Laura asks why. And he explains the why. And she tries to play down what happened between her and Birkan like it's not a big deal. Which Laura be cool, but you could tell she's one of those people who prides herself on living her life with accountability and being honest, who's not that honest. Like, because Laura has been lying. She's been playing with both of these men. I was surprised when we first met Laura that she was even willing to go to Turkey when she was saying before she went to Turkey that she was still hoping that Michael would just admit that he wants her. But Michael has made it very clear if he wanted her, he would have made a move. So I also feel like Laura is high-key delusional, just in a way that comes off as like less kooky. But she says her and Michael got drunk a year into their friendship. And she says they were laying down, playing around horse playing, and she tried to kiss him. And Michael declined her advance. She tried to play it off to her boyfriend that she wants to marry, mind you, as, oh, but that shouldn't be a big deal with our friendship today. Bitch, what? Now, Birkan told you that his female friend that he met just a year into their friendship, and they ain't been friends too many years, got drunk. And then he tried to kiss her. Would you feel away? Drunken mind is sober thoughts, baby. So, Laura, I think you might. I've always felt like Laura loves Michael and is only with Birkan because Birkan is available. And I could be wrong. I very well could be wrong. It's just my commentary on what I saw on the episode. But Laura looked for every excuse not to go, it seems like. And I'm just curious, like, what are we doing, Laura? So Birkan tells Laura, after she tells him it's no big deal, he tries to explain himself, and he's like, no, but this is a big deal. And Laura keeps interrupting him. So Birkan says, will you just shut up and listen? And she says, don't tell me to shut up. I said, girl, bye. Is that what you're doing? Maybe that's why you're single. Now, I understand that telling someone to shut up is rude, but he's mad right now. Would you rather him tell you to shut the fuck up, call you a bitch, call you out your name, do more? He has a right to be upset. You've been making this man think that Michael's a problem when the whole time you've been the problem. You the one who's hot between the thighs, not him and not Michael. So I don't understand why Laura is trying to act like it's not a big deal, but Birkan gets fed up because she gets mad about the shut up. He says, you know what? I never want to see you again. I said, well, damn, Birkan, you took it to hell. As Kiwan JTV would say, link in description of this video, he took it to the basement of hell. He said, I never want to see you again. And Laura's like, really? That's how you feel? And I was rooting Birkan on. Because you're not about to play with people and gaslight them into what Laura tried to do is exactly what Joshua and Nat tried to do with Elise. But the difference is Birkan didn't accept that shit. And he didn't have to stand up and act a fool in public. He said, I'm just never speaking to you again. We don't have to be anything. I said, that's right, Birkan, that's right. I was rooting for Birkan. I absolutely enjoyed it. But after her talk with Birkan, she's kind of heartbroken and sad. So she goes to Michael's hotel and she tells Michael what's going on. And Laura's mad at Michael. And it's like, you made this hard for me and you interrupted my relationship. I said, so you just got to have somebody to blame who's not you, don't you, Laura? You just got to blame somebody else other than yourself. The lack of accountability is crazy. It's actually insane. And Michael checks Laura too. I'm here for Birkan and Michael because neither of these men was going to play into this lady's games. Neither of them. Laura, the internet is saying you was really out there just wanting plastic surgery anyway to get your skin removal surgery. I would have preferred to watch Laura do that instead of play with both of these unattractive men that cannot grow hair. One of them's hairline looks like a peninsula. Look at San Francisco on a map and then look at Birkan's hairline. One of them looked like a peninsula. And the other one, his hairline is literally looking behind him. So I'm just like, Laura, you doing all of this over what looks to be two unemployed men. One of them you think love you, but he don't want you worth a damn. And the other one that did want you got a gambling problem, but is pretty honest about it. So we can't even fault him fully. Like Laura's doing the most over, in my opinion, two guys that she could do better. She's a school teacher. She's educated. She could do better. I feel like she's just impatient for what she's looking for in love. And I feel like that's why she was trying to rush Michael to be with her and then rushing over to Turkey to be with Birkan. But Michael pretty much lets Laura know that Birkan was on his ass because she has allowed Michael to look like he is the enemy when he's not. And Laura eventually calms down, goes downstairs because she see Michael ain't gonna come for her. And Michael says to Laura, he says, we're friends and nothing more. Won't be anything more. And he said that shit verbatim. And I thought that was the best thing Michael could have done. Make it clear to her with a camera recording you on national TV so that we are your receipt proof that you are not interested in her. Because I believe Michael. I don't think he's interested in her. I think he has a friend that he cares about. And that's what this is. If my best friend, James, or Megan, Melita, Leona, Latasha, shout out to y'all, by the way. I love y'all. But if any of my best friends were to go overseas and end up in a situation like Laura is in with Birkan, and they were to say, Amina, please come. If I had the ability and the means to come to them internationally or not to support them, I would show up. You don't have to be in love with somebody or bumping private parts just to be able to show up. So I think that Laura often mistakes the things that Birkan, that Michael does for her as a friend as something more. And if she would focus less on that, then she would see that Birkan is not doing enough. I would be asking Birkan, I want to see you gamble. I want to know where you do it, how much you put in, where you put this bet. I would want to ask every little thing so I could have all the information in the world. But she calls Birkan. He told her he don't want to go back and forth. He don't feel like talking to her right now. He is still mad. She's like, well, what are we going to do? Should I come back to the apartment? He's like, it's probably best if you don't. We need space. But we have to remember, Birkan ain't got no place to live. He's homeless. So even though Laura had him a little messed up, she ain't had him so messed up that she can't go back to the motherfucking rental that she paid for with her money. You're not going to put me out of a rental in my name that I paid for, No, sir. Absolutely not. Send his ass on his way so he could go stay wherever it is he stays when you're in America. Because ain't no way in hell you put me out of my rental that's in my name in a foreign country. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But we will see what happens with Laura. Let me know how you guys feel. Would you have been, do you guys feel like, shout out to the chat and the replay, do you guys feel like Laura is okay to not be in her room, or do you feel like she should be able to go back to that room since she paid for it? Let me know, because I was like, I don't care what happened. Nobody cheated. So you don't have to talk to me, but I'm coming to my motherfucking rental. That's how I feel. But I'm gonna digress. Let me see here. Shani said, Beercon is my man. Michael said, I could have had her bouncing on it if I wanted to. Michael said, I could have told that bitch to sit down if I wanted. When he said to Beercon, though, if I wanted Laura, she wouldn't have been in Turkey. I said, oh, okay, all right. Okay, Michael. All right, I hear you. Shani said, I was with Beercon up until he told her to shut up. Don't tell me to shut up. You out of your fucking mind. But to be fair, she was not letting him talk. And it was the situation where it's like, girl, you lied to him about making a move on somebody you want to be all up in his face. If the roles were reversed, she knows she would have a problem. Look, I'm all for girl power. I stick beside my women, but right is right and wrong is wrong. She had Beercon fucked up. She did. She had him messed up. Be quiet. My husband's agreeing with me in the background. But of course he agrees because he's a man. He just, it's what he does. Lord. Shetty said, even drunk Michael didn't want it. I know that hurt your feelings a little bit, girl. It might have drove her ass plumb crazy, because if you kiss a man drunk while y'all laid up together, rolling around and stuff, and he don't make a move, he's either gay or he just truly ain't attracted to you. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. But it seems like Laura just, I get it. Everyone wants to marry their best friend, but sometimes it's unrealistic. It's unrealistic. You just got to find friendship in who you marry. Hell. Let's see. How long has she and Michael been friends? For a couple of years, I believe. I think she said like 3 to 5 years or something like that. That was so long ago. I could be wrong. If anyone remembers, feel free to comment how long Michael and Laura have been friends. She said, I thought they were friends for a couple of decades. No, it has not been decades. It's been for years, but they have not been friends for decades. Like she said, I met Michael. She said she met Michael when she lost her weight. And her weight loss is like a newer journey she's been on for the last few years. So she's doing too much. Like, I don't know. They're doing too much. It take me a long time to make friends, though, just because I don't trust nobody. And I'm a Gemini, so I need to know that people could deal with me before I could really call them a friend, if that makes sense. But I guess Laura, they bonded over pickleball and activities. Shani said, that's right, Beercon. Let her know it's not Michael. I can't trust. Let her know it's not Michael I can't trust. It's your ass I can't trust, and I don't want your ass no more. She said, I don't want you no more. Didn't he also tell her that meeting her was the worst mistake of his life? I hollered when he said that. He said, I wish I never met you. Meeting you was the worst thing I ever done with my life. I hollered. I said, Beercon, shut up. The worst thing you ever did with your life was get into that debt that you got. Okay? Trying to run out the country instead of paying your debt. Please. Shetty said, of all your friends to come out there and meet you, why is Michael the only friend in America to do it? That part, though. But Michael say he don't want her. I feel like Michael wants to have his friendship with with Laura. But I also feel like he doesn't want to get into a relationship. Like, he don't want nothing too deep. I'm not sure why, but maybe the tell-all will give us more information. She said, don't be talking about Beercon's hairline there, twin. Hey, that's my homie. I love Beercon. I enjoy watching Beercon. He is funny, but he is also a funny looking man, and that's okay. To some people, I'm funny looking. It's all right. He want to go on TV. He better have thick skin. It's just how it goes. Do you think she asked Michael out there because maybe Michael seeing her with Beercon, that might change? Yes, Sister Shani. There you go. This is exactly why I think she asked Michael to come out there, because she thinks that Michael seeing her in a relationship with Bir Khan is going to make this man who has made it very clear that he don't want her to want her. Men are visual creatures, and men are creatures that know what they want and what they don't want. If he wants you, he's going to act a fool and he's not going to give up. If he don't want you or ain't tripping on having you, he's going to have Michael's energy. But, you know, Laura's hoping for more. Oh, hell no. I would have went right back to that room and been like, homie, if you got a problem, then you need to find somewhere else to stay. Right. I'm like, I'm with Bir Khan when he's right, but you ain't pay for that room, Bir Khan, and all you done is take her on a boat. So I'm going to need you to act a little better. Shani said, I don't give a shit if he even paid for it. I'm in a foreign country. Where you expect me to go? Back to this room? That's where. Listen, Michael's in town now. So Bir Khan, I think Bir Khan was trying to be petty, but the language barrier may not have shown. He probably, in his mind, was like, no, go stay with your friend. Go stay with Michael. Since you're so concerned about it. This is what I think, Shani. I think that Michael is gay. I think that Michael is gay. I think that Michael is not even 100% gay. I think he's the type of bisexual that I would consider my regular co-host, James. James has dated women. James has also dated men. I personally feel like James is better with men. But he could go either way, but he's very picky when it does come to women. I feel like Michael is like that. And maybe he doesn't want anyone to know. Maybe he doesn't want to talk about it on TV. Who knows? It could be a lot of things, but he could be gay, or he simply just is not interested in her, but he does give me a little sweet. He does. Michael, don't be pushing up on my homie Bir Khan. Oh, he's not. If he is, nobody want Bir Khan but Laura. Okay? And that is the truth. That is the absolute truth. Laura and Bir Khan, don't nobody want them but each other. It's the truth. It's the truth. But that's really it that we're going to see. I think she's crazy to give him his space when she paid for it. I will say that in front of my husband. You ever get mad at me on a trip? If I pay for the room or that motherfucker's in my name, I'm coming back to it. And you don't have to talk to me, but I'm coming back to it. And that's my husband. So I was looking at Laura like, girl, you paid for that. You're crazy. Absolutely crazy. Stay where you pay. Absolutely. Y'all, shout out to the replay gang. Again, we are getting through and moving on through. We're going to get into which couple is next. Forrest and Sheena are next. They big asses is wrapped up in banana leaves, and I'm going to never look at a banana leaf the same. Because why are they wrapped up in the doggone banana leaf? I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. Oh, wait, Shani, this part, I didn't even think about that. And she don't got no clothes with her. She can't even go back to her room and get something to wear. That's why I say, I wish, what Kendrick say in the song, I wish a nigga would. That, Laura, that's the energy you should have had. You got me out here in the streets of Turkey, English speaking, unable to understand Turkish language, running around because you mad that my friend, you thought my friend liked me, but I like my friend. Like, she's still... I don't like what Bir Khan did, but you know, it's Laura, so I'll digress. That's what she get for lying. Maybe she'll tell the truth going forward. So Forrest and Sheena are wrapped up in banana leaves with their big asses doing a spa treatment. They're on their little staycation. They have both gotten their cherries popped. Neither of them are, you know, virgins anymore. I think they were both lying about this because they had met each other in 2022 previously. And Sheena, you had this long-term relationship and you just never had sex. I do not buy it. And then the way Forrest said that Sheena was supposed to be a virgin, but that he didn't know what he was doing, and she hopped on top of him and started riding him. I said, oh, no. That's not something a virgin would do. That's not something a virgin would do. But okay, Sheen. Okay. Look, Shady said, Forrest said, do you have an extra large banana leaf? I'm like, why are they wrapping them in these? And they do good things, but it was such a loose wrap. Shout out to Aaliyah. That's a song by Aaliyah for those who do not know it. But I'm looking at them like, why are they wrapped up like when I go to the Thai restaurants? Like the main entree or a little appetizer. I could not. Like a virgin. Forrest and Sheena are cracking me up, but they've had sex and you could tell because they are carefree and they don't have a single bit of stress on them. And They discuss what they're going to do. So Forrest is on SSDI. So now there's different forms of Social Security. I see a lot of people battling online. They're like, it is taxable income. If your income comes from other people working, it's not taxable and it's not a real income. I'm sorry. I know that some people live off of Social Security. I know that some people live off of welfare. It's not your money. It's a gift from the government, from somebody else who went to work, and the government took some of their money while they were working hard to give to somebody else. It's the truth. And people who don't like it, oh well. I work with people who get Social Security and help them with stuff, but most of them can't afford a plane ticket to get across the world. And a lot of people have the attitude with Forrest, get a damn job, because if you are smart enough to travel across the world to a foreign country, then you can get a damn job. I've also seen online that Forrest works for some video store or something, or some gas station in Oregon, in the Dalles, Oregon, where he's from, which I've been saying this whole time, you can receive Social Security disability and still work if you're getting the type of SSI that they give you when you have something like autism that is the issue. So he can work. I just think Forrest is a lazy, Peter Griffin is lazy. Okay. My husband called Forrest Peter Griffin and I can't unsee it. He is lazy. But him and Sheena think the best thing is for him to stay in the Philippines. And Sheena is like, you can find a job here, baby bear. And if you can't find a job, I could take care of us. How are you going to take care of you guys when you're telling Forrest you can't even save money because you have to take care of your family? Now you can take care of him. And Forrest, working full time in the Philippines, the check you'll get from that will be less than what you get in your disability for the entire month. So obviously they're not thinking it through, but they want to stay together. But Forrest and Sheena have come at us with this fake ass storyline, which kind of annoys me. But in addition to having a fake storyline, I don't care because of that. I just feel like what they're doing is unrealistic. But they end up showing us that Molly has been texting Forrest because she's like, what are you guys going to do? It's coming time for us to leave. He left his mama on red, goes back to the main city in the Philippines that they were at, and they meet with Molly and her husband to have lunch. And Molly is upset because she feels like Forrest and Sheena left her and her husband basically for dead in their hotel room or in their Airbnb in that city. And she was like, they're just running off doing whatever. And she doesn't like that he ain't been texting her. So while they're out to eat, she asked about their trip. Molly is like, did you guys have a good trip? Did you have fun? And she figures out that they had sex, which anybody could figure out because they're real close and comfortable and relaxed now. And I said, Molly feels like they have left her in the dark. And she comments, though, she was positive. Molly was like, I feel like you guys, it's good you had sex because now you know that you have the physical connection in addition to everything else. And I thought it was weird. Now, Molly came to us when we first met her telling us that when Forrest turned 18, she took him to the sex shop so that he could know about sex. And now she is excited that her 32-year-old son has finally lost his virginity. Why are you excited for this, Molly? You would think that was his daddy, not his mama. But we know that Molly don't have no sense. She's gross. Something is wrong with her. And Molly then changes the subject. She's like, you know, you guys, it's the last day of the trip. And she asks them what their plans are. Are they going to go back to the United States? Are they going to apply for a visa? And this is where Forrest lets his mom know about the issues with his visa because he ain't got no income. And he tells his mom that because of these issues, he wants to stay in the Philippines. And Molly gets mad. Sheena tries to cut in. She said, I'm tired of you. Be quiet. And Sheena was like, Mom, he's a grown man. You have to let him make a decision. You have to learn to trust your son, Mom. And Sheena thought she ate with that. And Molly looked at Sheena and said, I do trust my son. I don't trust you. And so Sheena's big ass got up and went and ran and cried to the, as she do. She always crying. And I was kind of happy with how Molly acted, but then at the same time, now that we know what we know, you guys did all of this about Sheena's money, made us all think her family was shady and scammers. But Forrest ain't got no money. Forrest is broke. Forrest ain't got no work ethic. Big as hell, looking like Peter Griffin and can't get nothing right. Talking about, I don't want to be alone. I'm tired of being alone, Mom. Then go outside and make a fucking friend for us. But according to the people that know you in your local city and town, apparently you're a menace and obnoxious and a little bit privileged. But just because you want to make a friend, why are you throwing a fit like a big ass child? Grow up. Autism or not, his behavior is just ridiculous. It's like watching a child. But we go see what he decides. I have seen some recent pictures of Forrest and Sheena posted. It does look like he might have moved to the Philippines. It do look like that in real time. So, child, I don't know. Shanny said they're enjoying themselves, ignoring the mama's text and phone calls. Right. They said, we ain't even worried about Molly right now. Leave us alone. It's my dang money. Sheena, she could make more money in the US, but if she comes to the US, she's going to be supporting Forrest. And so many people working remotely now. If you have a laptop, you can log in almost anywhere. That's true. That's very true. He was knee deep in some fresh pussy. Sorry, Mom, he couldn't stop and call you. Right. The way she asked him if they had sex, I would not ask my son in front of everybody. I would have talked to him later and been like, did you? And did you use protection? Right. We're not going to you're just going to ask him at the dinner table loudly with hella people. The tables was closed. Forrest is not worried about staying there and then not working because he knows if it doesn't work out, yup. Actually, Shani, that's a really good observation. He could run back home to mommy. Because Molly talks a big game, but we know that if Sheena just somehow destroyed Forrest's world, I truly believe Molly would step in and help Forrest. I genuinely believe that. Genuinely believe that. Now, we gonna get into Rick and Trisha, and we won't be here for long, beautiful people. We will not be here for long discussing Rick and Trisha. They irritate me. Now, congratulations to Trisha in real time. She is currently pregnant. Hopefully not by Rick, but you know, she's pregnant, and that was important to her and her culture. So I was happy to see that she was able to get what she wanted out of a baby. Babies are blessings. But we seen that Trisha's family was trying to pressure Rick into having a kid. And even though it's part of the family's culture, I don't like that they tried to like convince him to have a kid. I don't think that's something you convince someone on. If someone says they don't want a kid, then you should tell your daughter we don't approve of him and to find someone else instead of trying to convince him. Like, what you expect him to just lay her down in front of you and knock her up right now? Is that what they expected? Because that didn't make any sense. But Rick's dumbass says yes. And he says, I was peer pressured and bullied into saying yes. No, you're a 52-year-old man, Negro. You have the right to say no if you want to say no. And you have the right to say yes if you want to say yes. I think Rick is ignorant when it comes to travel and culture, which he has shown time after time again, especially with how he's adjusted to the culture over in Madagascar. And I don't know why, but I feel like he might have had some weird thought of what will happen to him if he disagreed. Because why would you say yes to having kids when you know you don't want them and have been standing on the fact that you have two small ones as it is? And what is the big deal about having a kid if you already have two small ones? Just get it up and out the way. But I personally think it have been saying for weeks that I feel like Rick has never taken Trisha seriously and just wanted to fuck her. Because that man came out there mad at her in their second episode because she didn't want to have a splash pad, a big piece of plastic laid down on the bed so that she could comfortably have intimate relations with him. Because when she gets pleasured, it gets messy. Like, Rick had nothing on his mind but to sleep with Trisha. I truly believe that. But the family asked Rick, they're like, okay, well, when are you going to start working on the baby? And he's like, well, we can't do that first. We got to file for the visa. And we got to do that in 3 months after we get engaged. And I'm like, okay, I know he lying, because why would you say in 3 months we'll be engaged? Shouldn't an engagement for the woman you're going to propose to be a secret? And Trish, dumbass, bless her heart, because she's just 25, was 3 months. Yes. I said, Trish, if a man cares to propose to you, he ain't gonna make sure you know when it's happening. Like something's really wrong with Trish. Something is really wrong with Trish. But she's happy, and they're going back to, I can never say this, Antananavios, Madagascar. I may have butchered it, but it is the main town where Trish actually lives because she doesn't live with her family. She lives in the city, and it's also where Rick is going to fly out back to the US because we're nearing the end of their trip. But on the way back to the main island, Madagascar, or wherever they have to go, their flight was delayed, and it was just delayed and delayed and delayed. And because the flight was delayed, Rick started to get text messages because he had reception. Trish was paying attention to the fact that he was getting text messages from his ex. And it looks like it's the ex that he flew to Colombia to sleep with for 5 days. She's texted him all this stuff, and he's responding in an inappropriate way. Trish tells him, hand me this phone before I throw you with it. I said, oh, damn. Okay, girl. And he lets her go through the phone, and she pretty much has a meltdown over the fact that she has discovered that Rick is cheating on her again. Trisha, you should have went through his phone the moment that he said we are good. Okay, well, before we move forward, I want to go through the phone. That's what she should have found, because I feel like he has always been talking to this woman while out there. I just truly believe that. And I feel like Rick is a little bit like Colt from 90 Day, where he has a preference of certain types of exotic or foreign women, and he will talk to them in those countries. I don't think he's faithful to anyone. A 52-year-old man with a 3-year-old, that tells me that's an irresponsible nigga. I said what I said. And Trisha, you crying over a 52-year-old bitch boy that drives Uber and sells hair weave during tax time on TikTok. Do better, boo. There's lots of wonderful Black men in America that are actual men, not bitches like Rick. I'd have nothing good to say about Rick. And I mean nothing. Nothing. But let me know, y'all. Y'all know I'm not opposed to differing opinions. So if any of you guys like Rick, like Trisha, dislike Rick, let me know how y'all feel about it in the comments. A final shout out to our replay gang. We have made it to our final couple that we are going to discuss, which is the show, aka Lisa and Daniel. They are a mess, but before we move into them, let me get these comments. She said Molly would have paid for the plane ticket home. I know she would. Rick is freaking dumb as hell. He is. Did this motherfucker think he was going to the land of Zamunda before he got to Madagascar? He wasn't expecting that flight to get delayed. She be over there skeeting. Definitely an idiot. Definitely Shani. This is not the first time. No, a couple episodes ago, the same ex that he was talking to, he told Trisha, because he had been accusing Trisha of cheating. Rick's the type of dude where if he's cheating, he's going to accuse his female of cheating, hoping that she'll admit to something so that he can't get in too much trouble for what he's doing. But he was cheating on her. He flew to another country to play house with another female and sleep with her for 5 days. I said, oh, no, sir. She said, twin, I know you another liar. That is not Rick's profession. Yes. They found his Uber profile. It is floating around on the internet. The next time I see you, I'm going to DM it to you, Shani. He is an Uber driver, Uber Gold. And he did announce when he started this show in the beginning of the season, he couldn't give us a job that he had. He pretty much was like, he sell hair weave on TikTok and has a bunch of different hustles, but it don't seem like he's very employed. In the words of Daniel, you vomit lies. Oh, Lord. I'm going to be like Daniel's uncle. The next person that disappoints me, I'm going to tell them, you're an abomination. I'm definitely going to tell them that. But Lisa and Daniel, we start the episode in the basement of hell, as my good sister Kiwan JTV would say, y'all. Lisa and Daniel just had sex. They got busy because, as Lisa said the last time, I'm clean. She says she is no longer have a vexed spirit from munching on coochie for all them years. She's clean. So because she's been freed of the lesbianism, which according to Daniel's Nigerian Igbo culture makes her an abomination. Now she is safe to become his wife and all this stuff. So I guess they had a nice night together in the hotel. And it is the morning when we see them, the morning that Lisa is leaving to go back to, I believe, Pennsylvania. Lisa, take your ass back to Georgia and go hide in the woods. Take your ass back to Georgia. Do as Iyanla did. Go in the bush and weep. I don't want to see Lisa no more with these men. Like, I cannot. They are putting each other's tongues all over each other in their mouths. And Lisa looks at Daniel. She's like, you satisfied me in every way, baby, but there's just one area that you were lacking. And he looks, he's like, well, what is this? What is it, my love? And she's like, you still haven't given me the oral. And I need oral sex. It's real important to me. That's a big one for me. You just was supposed to have had your spirit cleansed from getting your coochie eaten and eating coochie. And now you fix it to ask this man if he's going to be able to eat your coochie. You are about to hop on a flight. Why do I feel like Lisa in that wig wanted him to go down there real quick before the flight? And it looked like they was in the same bed that she pooped on him in. You shouldn't ask for nothing. You lucky to even be getting sex from this man. You lucky to even be getting any dick, girl. Lisa, do not come for me. Lisa is stressing me out because you didn't have to do that. I about threw up in my mouth. I was trying to work. I'm having to mute the phone on calls and stuff at work. Lisa said that oral sex is a big deal for her and she needs it. And I literally screamed in my house. I scared my cat and everything, y'all, because Daniel gonna say to the confessional, Lisa is asking me for oral sex? Eyes wide as hell. He said, I cannot give because I've never done it before. But I feel like he has done it before because he thought about it. He said, I can only work with what God has given me, and that is my dick. I said, not Daniel. Y'all not gonna stress me out today, Lisa and Daniel. Okay, I about threw up, cried, and screamed from laughter in less than 60 seconds from watching them two. And then I screamed some more because Lisa was serious. She was like, no, I'm serious. I need this kitty cat licked. Okay. And I'm not mad at her, but I'm like, let me explain something to women. I may not have the most sex partners because I've been with my partner a long time, but I'm going to tell you something. If you want your coochie loved on orally, don't give him nothing oral until you see if he gonna do the same thing. Okay, don't let these men play with y'all. Don't let these men play with y'all, because I promise you Daniel has done that before. But Lisa, you want to ask on the last day, hours before a flight. Like, stop it, Lisa. I just cannot. But Daniel's response to her was the funniest thing ever, because he says to her, okay, I promise I will do that for you. I promise when we are married. These niggas ain't even barely engaged. You talk about you gonna eat her out once y'all married. She is about to fly across the world to America. The wedding is gonna take a long time. Talk about you'll eat her out when y'all get married, but then all of the next scene, y'all both talking about how you don't know if you're gonna see each other again and feel like the last time. Because when I say that these two are scamming each other, as Nene Links would say, they see each other. Lord, Hot Mess Express. But he makes the promise that he'll eat her coochie once they marry, and she accepts it. So they head to the airport, and the dramatics begin. They get out of the car, and before they could get out the car and before they could get to the airport, Lisa's like, now listen, Daniel, I'm going to have to go out there. I'm going to have to get back to work. And if you want to come to the U.S. and we want to get our visa, I'm going to need an immigration attorney. That costs money. I'm not going to be able to be sending you money, Daniel. I'm not going to be able to send you money, so don't ask. I said, oh. Lisa, you lied and you took a shit on this man, but I'm going to tell you this right here. Nigga wouldn't get a damn dollar from me if you not going to lick the box. I'm just saying. He won't eat your coochie. His family has called you an abomination. You had to get cleansed just because of your love. And this man almost left you because you lied to him about the fact that you was married for 21 years to a woman and you were separated for 9 years for some reason without ever asking for a divorce. Make it make sense. I'm like, I don't understand Lisa and Daniel. I'm hoping more comes out with the tell-all. There's rumors going around that they're married and all this crazy stuff. But she told Daniel, don't spend her money like that. She not going to be sending him stuff. He says, Nigeria, Nigeria is hot. It's hot. It's a harder life out there, but it sounds like Daniel doesn't come from money. And when you don't come from money in a place like Nigeria, it's that much harder to obtain it. It's not like the US here where you could be broke and come from nothing and, just easily make it. Like you can make it, but you're going to have to work damn hard to do it. And Daniel's not trying to do that. That's why he's trying to find him a little gringa to marry. That's what he's trying to do. But they get to the airport. They say their goodbyes. And Lisa was crying. She was really upset. Daniel, he was moving his face away to look like he was crying, but he wasn't actually crying. And I hollered because Daniel eventually got the tears out. And I was cracking up because Daniel is crying over Lisa. Sad as hell, hoping he sees her again because he's like, damn, this is my only way into America. I need that green card. They serious about it when these two were talking about it in that hotel room before the airport. But I was cracking up because I'm like, I think that they are scamming each other. I really don't think they love each other like that. I feel like Lisa just wants someone to be with or a man for the moment. Probably ain't caught no coochie in a minute. And she does have borderline personality disorder. I do feel like that could have a little piece in her decision making. But Daniel, he definitely just wants a green card. But why are you crying over this woman, Daniel, in a blue shirt that says, I love my wife. Please stay away from me. I can't take them seriously. I take nothing these people do seriously. Nothing. Not a damn fucking thing. And I don't care. When they get to the tell-all, here are the things I want to know about Lisa. Did the sores on your hairline from that wig being on your head ever heal? Did you ever wash or change wigs while you were in Nigeria? Like, I have so many questions for them. So many. Let me get through these comments. Let me see here. She is not from Pennsylvania. She lives in Pennsylvania. King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, but she is from Georgia. She was actually homeless in Georgia. There are clips of her living in the woods in Georgia in a tent with hella animals and her ex-wife. So Lisa's got an interesting story. She's definitely an interesting one. Shani said, did she give him oral sex? She talking about she wanted it. Has she given it to him? I believe that she has. But we don't know. And honestly, I've seen enough of Lisa and Daniel's tongues. I don't want to know. If they ever come back on TV, I wish to know nothing of their sex life. Shani said, Lisa, when you came back from the man and buying a goat, did you even take a shower? And you want him to go down on you. It's hot out there, girl. I wouldn't want to go down on her just out of fear that she can't hold her bowels and she might expel on me if I make her feel too good. Absolutely not. Daniel, if you would have went down on her the night before, maybe she wouldn't be talking about not giving you no more money. Shani, you want time. That man could not squeeze a tear out. He was fighting for that one tear to come. Sure was. The only reason the tears came out is because, my gosh, I'm not going to be getting no more money. He crying because thank goodness you are going home. That was a lot. I'm not going to lie to y'all. Daniel went through a lot dealing with Lisa. And a lot of what he dealt with, he shouldn't have had to deal with. I don't think he has a job out there, Shani, especially since he says before he started talking to Lisa, he has shorts, as his friend described him. He was wearing basketball shorts with the ass cheeks out. So I don't think he had a job if you can't even get a pair of pants to cover your ass. I definitely don't think he had a job. No, they don't want each other. It looked to me like Lisa is TV dramatic and all Daniel wants is the green card to get to America and then he's out. Yeah, I think he'll come to America and stay with her because Africans are the type of people, if you do something for them, especially if it helps their life, he'll appreciate and probably be respectful of Lisa, but I don't think he'll come to America and stay faithful. I don't. Twin, you gonna stop telling me pork pies and a bag of trout. She was not in the woods in the tent in Atlanta. That's what, yes, there's camera footage of it. And it was actually kind of sad because all I saw in the clip was like hella rain and the flood coming through. The cats was panicking. They had cats and dogs and hella stuff. So, you know, I've been homeless before. I don't judge people for it, but I ain't never been homeless in nobody's forest in a tent with some pets. No, never done that. But yeah, Lisa's a lot. I'm going to start sending you the stuff online that's come out about Lisa, Shani, because it is a lot. The lady is not right in the head. She's definitely not right in the head. But that is it, you guys, for this recap of 90 Day Fiance Before the 90 Days. This was episode 17 of season 8. Welcome to your destination. A lot of these couples are going home. I think we have a couple more episodes left, literally maybe just a couple, because 90 Day Fiance is back May 10th. 90 Day The Hunt for Love is coming back as well. The cast came out. So we have a lot. I will be covering all of the 90-day shows. If there's any other shows you guys want me to cover, let a nigga know. I will happily do it. Other than that, I'm going to head into our review for The Housewives of Rhode Island, the episode that aired last night. I do appreciate everybody that stops by and supports my channel. I'm a new creator. I'm shy, so I appreciate the fact that anyone cares what I have to say. I hope y'all consider liking and subscribing. Other than that, I thank everybody for watching, and I will see y'all in our next review, hopefully with James. Adios.